What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to another episode of Roll Call with Chappy. I have a super dope guest in the studio today, and I'm fired up for this interview. My man Carlos, we have a lot of similarities. Just met about 6 months ago when he got released from doing a longer prison sentence than myself even, and became really close pretty quick. And I kind of want to, I always say there's different paths to prison. I shouldn't have went to prison. His story, when you hear it, I feel like he was destined for prison. And we both end up in the same places, just in different states. So, Carlos, do me a favor, introduce yourself and just tell us how you grew up, man, and how you ended up the same spot I did, just in California.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's truly an honor. For me, I grew up, in a pretty good neighborhood, starting off in the suburbs. Grew up with my dad, my mom, my sister. We had two dogs, the whole nine.
Yeah.
You could picture the perfect family,
Yeah.
I guess you could say. Back then, my dream was to become a baseball player. I did really good in school. Went through Catholic school, all that.
Okay.
And everything just changed about the age of 13.
Okay.
It was at that point, my dad, this whole time he had a secret life going on. He had a whole nother family that he had created, unbeknownst to my mom and to us. And he just decided one day to just get up and leave and be with that family. And so he left us. And when he left us, it put my mother in a deep depression. She was forced to have to go get 3 jobs just to take care of us. My sister, who was about 16 or 17 at the time, got pregnant. And me, I was 13, and I hit the streets. We were forced to move out of our home in the suburbs, and we had to move to a neighborhood that was poor and gang infested.
Mm-hmm.
So it was there in that neighborhood that I got what I was missing.
Yeah.
I got that acceptance, from the gang that was left when my father left. And so, the older guys there, they kind of took me under their wing. They saw a young guy that was kind of lost and was like, okay, we can use him to further what we're doing here, and like most gangs do, they want to build. They want to, get more power, more territory.
Mm-hmm.
So the more people they can recruit, the easier it is to do that. So they took me in, and, that's when my life started to like really, really, really go down the wrong path. And at 14, I officially became a gang member. And around that time is when I met a person that had a significant impact in my life by the name of Chris. He was 3 years older than me. And from the moment I met him, I just admired him. I looked up to him like a big brother I've never had, even kind of like a father figure. He taught me things, he taught me how to survive in the streets basically. And he was extremely violent, had one of the biggest reputations within the neighborhood as being, what they say back active,
Mm-hmm.
and so I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be looked at like he was looked at, respected like he was respected. So he took me under his wing, and he introduced me to the first time that I committed crime, which was an armed robbery. And I remember I was about 15 years old, and he gave me a gun, and he was like, "We'll rob that liquor store right there." And without hesitation, I just did it.
Damn.
No question, just, all right, went in there, did that, came back, gave him the money, like, here, and he split it with me. And he knew from that point that like he had somebody who wasn't afraid, to do what he was doing,
Mm-hmm.
and who could be on that level. So we just, we went on a criminal spree for a long time, selling drugs, robbing people, burglary, you name it. Just that whole gang lifestyle that we all know about. We did it all.
Yeah.
And and then I ended up going to prison. Went to prison at the age of 18.
And what were the charges you went to prison for everybody so they know?
Yeah, okay, well, first, I did a jewelry store robbery,
Okay.
and I was arrested for that. And I bailed out. And while I was out on bail, I committed a home invasion robbery. And, we robbed, some local drug dealers. And the police ended up getting involved. So I went on the run for that. So now I'm on the run for 2 armed robberies, and wanted in and connected to multiple bank robberies and other robberies throughout different parts of California. So I went on the run for 9 months, and then the U.S. Marshals caught me, and it took me in, and I went to jail. And I remember the last thing that was told to me when I was taking that drive to be placed into the county jail was like, enjoy it. It's the last time you'll ever see the streets.
Damn.
Yeah.
And you probably expect that almost at that time too, huh?
Yeah. I did, because I knew that I would eventually probably go to prison.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew, like, once I went to prison, the person that I had to be to survive in prison I probably would never make it out of there.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what, if I'm going to go in there and be in there for the rest of my life, then I'm just going to die with this reputation as being, one of the hardest people from the gang that I was from.
And I'm serious here. Like, I went away for a theft charge, and I thought I was gonna get a few years. They tripled my sentence and gave me 12 years in prison. So I never had that fear of like, damn, I'm never getting out of here. I watch that 48-hour show all the time, and I see that like, what was going through your mind when you're going there? Are you thinking like, damn, my life's over, or are you just thinking like, now I'm gonna make another name for myself? Because people don't get that side of it. You just graduate from one family and life to the next. So how much of it were you like scared you just throwing your life away, or were you like so on some gangster shit that you were just like ready to go to prison? Because as they say, you ain't official until you've been to the joint in gangs.
Yeah. Well, before I went to prison, like I mentioned, I was in the streets. At the age of 13, I was homeless. I literally like lived in my car. I lived in motels and hotels when I did robberies and was able to afford it.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have the knowledge to know what to do with money. To go rent a house or none of that. It was just, and then I was taking care of other people that were part of my organization at the time, a branch from my gang that were doing the crimes with me. So I had nothing to lose. I felt like, I was suicidal at the time. I didn't care about my life. I didn't care about living. So all I cared about was going into prison and just being the craziest person that anybody has ever seen.
You were probably it feels like you were done with the streets, so at least figure out what this prison shit's about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it was always something that like I always felt that I could never be the status that other people in my neighborhood were there, because they had been to prison and I hadn't been to prison yet. So you haven't earned your bones yet.
Yeah.
You haven't been through that yet. And until you go through that, then you're not really that big and bad here. Because so-and-so's been there, he'd been in and out. So let's see if you could withstand that test first.
Yeah.
Then you can really be somebody big. So for me, it was like, this is just another part of my life. Let me go do this. And if I get out, then I get out and I'll go right back to that life. And if I don't get out, then I'll die and be forever remembered as being an active.
Red rum.
Yeah, red rum.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you end up signing a plea bargain for 20 years and 2 strikes in California at like 18 years old. You go to the joint in reception. What's going through your mind now? You got a 20-year prison sentence ahead of you. I mean, it's at least official. You know what's going on with your life.
Yeah.
How much are you scared? How much are you just ready to go do it? What's going through your mind at this time? Because a lot of people can't even fathom that. And even myself, like, I spent half my life in prison, man, and like your story is crazy to me. I can't understand it or comprehend it even myself.
Yeah. Going into reception with the 20-year sentence with 2 strikes is like going in California at the time in the early 2000s was like going in with life. Mm-hmm. And anybody would tell you back then, because you were getting struck out for having a knife. You were getting struck out for even if you had a fight and you hurt the person too bad. And going into prison to a level 4 maximum security yard, knowing this and being told this by the other guys that I'm meeting in reception, I expected to be in there for the rest of my life.
For sure.
And I wasn't really afraid, because I didn't care about my life. If anything, I felt that if I got killed in there, then at least I didn't have to do it to myself.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, and going in with that mindset, it kept me from being afraid. A lot of people would always think, oh, you got to be scared going in. For me, it was different, because I just wasn't afraid to die at that time.
Damn.
Yeah. So
honestly, I mean, besides the stuff you do now, I think probably the most just crazy and just the part of the story that I can't believe, and it's like the biggest miracle, is the fact that you made it through all that time.
Yeah.
didn't get caught and catch no time, so you got 3 strikes, so you didn't turn it into a life sentence. Because a lot of, I mean, these viewers don't know it. There's dudes that go to prison and they do minimum time yards or even 3 yards, and it's not like that lifestyle. You know what I mean? You can smooth sail and go home like no questions asked. But when you're on those real yards, you know, like tell the people what you know. You have to sneak shakes into the chow hall. Like tell the people how violent and how vicious it was for you, and the fact that, because like I said, it's just amazing that you didn't catch no more time doing that.
Yeah, it really is, and I reflect on that now, and it's shocking to me that I didn't get struck out because there were multiple times where I should have, and I think the one thing that kept me from getting struck out based on the things I was doing was just it's all mindset. It's all the person that I was. I was always a person who was a mastermind. People used to call me that. And it's just the way I was able to navigate through prison. When I first went in and I first walked into the cell, I was taught how to make a knife. I was taught how to stitch up a wound, because if you get stabbed in here, you can't go tell anybody, because then they're going to want to know what happened. I was taught how to carry knives. We're going to the chow hall. You're getting patted down. You're going through metal detectors, so you got to keep it between your ass cheeks. Walk into the chow hall, sit down, eat, and then get up and walk out back to your cell with a knife in your ass cheeks and be ready to pull it out and use it in a moment's notice.
And you get caught with one of those, your life,
That's it.
Your 20 years turned into a life sentence. And
Yeah.
you did 20 years. Like I said, I still can't even wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
So, me, I strived in prison to have this big gangster reputation. All I wanted, people know, like I wanted the cops scared of me. I wanted the inmates scared of me. I was really easily impressionable. So it can kind of be smooth sailing in there. So was it like the first 10, let's say up until your 13 years when you finally started changing, you were just all about the gang life and wanted to just build a reputation to be gangster? And then what made it to where you were kind of over that, and what happened? Was there a certain moment, or?
Yeah. For the first 13 years, I was just continuing to just live a destructive life. I went to the hole multiple times, went to the shoe, was still doing criminal things from inside of my cell out into the free world and within the prison. And everything happened. Everything started to change around my 13th year when I was sitting in the hole.
Okay.
And I was sitting in the hole and I was all alone. And I had, there was nobody even on the row, which is what we called it to even speak to at the time. And so I'm just there, like, with my own thoughts.
Oh.
And just, I know how that
It's
feels.
taking me back, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, at that point I said, you know what? I didn't care about my life. I didn't care about anybody else's life. And I'm like, damn, I made it this far and I'm still alive. Like, why am I not dead? Maybe I need to just do it. And, I was really contemplating that, considering it, going to the shower and asking for a razor so I could shave, and then busting the razor over and it slid in my wrist. I thought of many ways to do it. And it was like I was thinking about it, and just out of nowhere, this chaplain walks up. And he walks up to my cell, and I'm sit there, I got my head down, and he knocks on the window, and I just look up, and every now and then they'll walk through there, and just like nurses and stuff, and check on UCOs, and you want a Bible, and I was a person that always loved to read, so I went over to him and I was like, oh sure, why not?
You had nothing better to do?
Yeah, nothing better to do. I might as well read the whole Bible just to see what it's about. And he just gave me the Bible, and it was like. He didn't do nothing else but just give me that Bible. But I knew that, like, when he gave me the Bible, and he was like, it's hard to explain, but he was telling me something through his eyes. And it connected with that, with him. And I went back and I sat back down and I just started reading the Bible. And I read the Bible. I was back there from front to back. And within that time, I had a lot of thoughts about what I was doing. And the people that I was impacting from the things that I was doing. And it just so happened I got a letter in the mail, and it came from one of my friends. He was younger than me, way younger than me, but he was like how I was when Chris was out there. He was under my wing, and he had just got sentenced to 110 years to life, and he was 15 years old when it happened, and that right there just changed me, because in the letter he's talking about he had a daughter. In the letter he's talking about he had a girl. all these things. And he wasn't blaming me or putting none of that. He was just letting me know like what was going on in his life. And for me at that point, and I realized what the things I did to influence him to do what he did, it's just like a ripple effect of the people that I hurt because of this negative influence I was having. So at that point, I decided to change. And I made that commitment. I made that decision to myself. I made it to God, and I said, when I walk out of this hole, I'm going to take back control of my life.
No way.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm not Red Rum no more. I'm Carlos now. And I'm going to let everybody know, and I'm just going to deal with whatever comes with that. And if I get killed, I'm okay with that, because at least my mother can bury me as Carlos, not Red Rum.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the viewers don't know the specifics of that, and how brutal and unsafe that can be for you. You can't. I got political ink on me, so you can't take your hand down. Your hand's always raised until the day you go home. You don't have the option to say no. Luckily I turned into a shot caller.
Yeah.
So a lot of the missions I was able to call the shots instead of run them, that like I had to do when I was a youngster. But I mean, you were literally in fear for your life. And so how did that go? Did you have any bad experiences with it, or how did people treat you, and what happened? I want to hear this.
Yeah, well, when I got out, a lot of guys, they get out of the hole after a while, and people expect them to get out and have this like renewed way of thinking, like, oh, I'm okay, because you're back there and you get let down again. You think like, okay, well, I'm back here, so why is nobody from the yard looking out for me? Why is nobody sending me nothing?
Yeah.
So a lot of guys get out with this thing like,
you realize you're just a pawn in the game.
Yeah. So, but for me, it was like that. Like I didn't do it like that. I got out, and I told everybody that I had already knew, and everybody that I was close with, that I was going to be stepping back, and I was going to be getting my life together, and I wanted to go home, and I just told them straight up, and they were like it shocked me, because I didn't get the reaction that I expected. The reaction I got was, "You deserve that.
No way.
You should." And those were from the people that I respected.
Wow.
But obviously in a world like that, not everybody sees it that way, because you got young guys in there who are like, nah, there is no getting out.
Yeah.
So, on one occasion, I got attacked by a younger dude, on the yard, unexpectedly getting out of the shower.
No way.
You know how we have that training. When you're in the shower, sometimes you got to even get in your boots.
Yeah.
And I still had that mentality. So, but it's like, it's always the closest people to you that'll get you. So that's what happened with me, and I was attacked and bumps and bruises, and I got over that. And then later on, there was an incident that occurred. It was a riot that happened, and I was involved in the riot still, and that's when I got stabbed.
Damn.
So, and I got involved in the riot because in prison, you get in a riot and it becomes racial, you have to fight. I don't care, it's not even about who you're rolling with. It's just about you trying to fight for your life, because everybody's trying to kill everybody pretty much. So in the racial riots, you know that. And so, yeah, I got stabbed, and, I had to go in and go back to my cell, and my homeboy stitched me up.
No way. In the cell?
In the cell. Yeah, in the cell.
Oh, wow.
Because although I did make the commitment to change my life, and although I did tell people, like, there's still things that you have to live by in there, there's still things that I wouldn't do, which is like throw people under the bus or tell on somebody, because I feel personally, and I still stand by these values today, that like, I'm not the type of person that would throw somebody under the bus for me to benefit in a way.
To save yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's just not me. And, so that happened. And then, after that, I just started, enrolling in college, and I got on that path, and it was a slow progression. It wasn't just an overnight thing. There were times when I slipped, when I found myself back in those circles of the gang.
Because it's hard to stay out of the politics in there, man. I'm serious. It's like,
Yeah.
It's like, compared to high school, it's like being popular and being not popular. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I tried at the end, and I had youngsters that tried to keep stuff away from me that was going to happen on the yard, because they knew I was going to get involved, and I was a year to the gate, and I flipped out. I'm like, no, I want to be involved with everything. So it's hard to stay out of that stuff. So I can imagine that. So did you get all like religious, or is that when you found that Prep Foundation or Sister Mary, or what happened after that? Like, because you had
Yeah.
what 4 or 5 years left at this time now?
Yeah. Well, at this point, yeah, I had about 5 years left,
Okay.
but a very profound and unique thing happened, when I was in there and I was transitioning my life. Because a lot of guys, when they say they're stepping away from that life, they completely step away and separate themselves through religion, whatever it may be, and they're just out of it. And, I'm not in no way knocking that. Some people just need to do that for them to better their lives. But for me, as I was stepping away, and I would go to college and come back through the yard and see the guys over there huddled up and the youngsters and all that. And I could, at that point, I could have went along my own way and did my own thing. They already knew what I was on, but something told me like, you know, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to just walk away from that. You're supposed to put yourself back in that and help change the culture. Help change that. Don't walk away from it and just focus on you. Use your influence, use your leadership and communication skills to help these guys find that inspiration to change. So I did that, and I started going back to these guys and even other gang members and stuff, and just look, we got this group going on that I'm starting. I became a facilitator through Partnership for Reentry program, and I would just challenge guys, like, come to the group. Like, man, come to the group, just what's up? And I'll pull guys to the sidewalk, laugh, tell me your story, tell them my story, tell them there's a better way, tell them that there's so much more going on out there. Like, this is BS, this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then, you just get people that just follow you, like, because some people, it's in there. They just need somebody to ignite that.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would do. And I would go back in there and just put myself back into the lion's den, so to speak, and just try to help pull guys out of there. And there was some resistance, but eventually you start to see the culture shift.
Mm-hmm.
And in one of our groups, we literally had 5 guys get out on parole. They were all lifers, all gang members, all had been through the same experience, and they went through these groups and were able to go to parole, were able to change and get out of prison, and they're out of prison now.
Wow.
So yeah, that's, for me, it was like, and even to this day, I still talk to guys in there. And
Yeah.
my old cellie, he was a youngster. When I left him, he told me, he's like, you are the reason why I changed my life.
Damn.
He was full-fledged gangbanger. We got in a cell together. I mentored him. He saw me going to groups, he joined. I challenged him. Like, if you hard, do this course. If you hard,
Yeah.
see what's inside of you.
Yeah.
I know you could stab. I know you could shoot. I know you could fight.
On those roads, everybody can. Yeah.
Yeah. But let's see if you could do something different here and change things. And then that's what I've been on, and that's my mission now.
Damn, that's awesome. Yeah. So, I know you got involved with Sister Mary stuff, and we had talked. I'm pretty open about that. I started doing therapy now because I got tons of mental issues from the prison stuff that I've been through. So, you had mentioned you had started going through therapy, I think, before you got out, right?
Yeah.
And what kind of therapy was that? And did it have benefits for you? And do you still do therapy, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the therapy that I was doing and that I was receiving was all therapy from the stuff that I was getting from Sister Mary in Partnership for Reentry program at Prep. The courses that they were providing to us in there, along with just me doing my own, self-educating. We were able to do classes of 30 guys and get in a room and just have open therapy. Everybody go around, speak about whatever you want to speak about. We had breakthroughs. We had guys in there that would just break down and we would be there to support them. To me, that is therapy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was another level of therapy, because none of the guys in there with the pride we have would ever go like seek psychiatric help in there.
For sure.
I mean, that's frowned upon in there. And then not only that, just I think men in general, like, kind of,
we don't want to seem weak.
Right. You don't want to seem weak. But when you have a group full of men who aren't weak, and you know this, and then we're able to have those empowering moments, that was the therapy that ultimately changed my life too, and prepared me to get out, and then gave me the skills that I needed to do that out here now, and then to go back in and help them as well.
Damn. Okay, so let's get to the ending now. You probably had to have a little bit of confidence now getting out. I always say when I was a year to the gate, I was terrified to get out. It gave me anxiety to even think about being released because I was still on drugs. I hadn't done anything possible with my entire prison sentence. And like I said, I think it was a God thing now, but luckily I got thrown back in the hole. So I spent my last like 9 months in solitary confinement. I was able to get sober, put on some size, and at least like do some positive thinking for once without the prison mentality and all the prison bullshit being in my head all day long. So you're getting released. How much of it are you scared? What's your biggest fear? And are you just fired up and happy, or what's going through your head when you're getting released?
I think at that point when I was getting released, like up to the release, I never really psyched myself up to think I was going home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I used to say, when I go home, I'll go home. I don't believe it until I'm going home.
That's what I said. And it's because I had been let down so much, had so many disappointments. And then a part of me felt like that, you know what, if God still wants me here to do my mission, then I'm just going to be here till then. What if they tell me I'm going home next week? If it happens, it happens. But until then, I'm just here. And so I just stayed in the moment. I stayed present at that time. So I didn't really feel anything as far as the release until the day that they opened that door and let me out. And then I was able to get on that van and then go see my mom and my sister and give them that hug. That's when I knew it was real.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel nervous because I felt that I was ready, you know, like in my soul, you know, spiritually, mentally, I felt that I was really ready to get out into the world and be successful.
And you probably felt like you finally deserved it too.
Yeah.
Right?
I did. And for so long, I didn't feel that.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like I didn't even deserve to live, let alone freedom. So, but at that point, I felt that I had done enough good in there at the time to where now it's time for me to take my mission out into the world.
Yeah.
But never forget that. Never forget where I came from, because a part of my calling is to go back, and which I've been doing, because, you know, I want to help continue to inspire those guys to change their life and to do good, because a lot of them deserve it too.
Yeah, for sure. So, and this might be a little selfish of me, but I love getting out of prison and putting your mind back in there too. So tell me just a little bit about the first few days out of prison, you know, because it was kind of a blur for me, you know, like I can't even like really remember it. Everything was just moving so fast. I felt like, so the first couple days, you know, you're a mama's boy. I'm a mama's boy. How was it spending time with your mom finally? You know, like I still hold my mom's hand to this day walking around the mall.
Yeah. I mean, that was the best thing in my life, you know, being able to be out and see that joy in my mother's face that I'm out, but not only that I'm out, that I'm a changed man, you know, that I'm not that person anymore that was like a parasite in the world. Now I'm a person that's doing good, because, you know, me, like a lot of the change that came from me too was, like I mentioned, the way that I was impacting others. And like, just imagine how we impacted our mothers.
Yeah.
You know, like we know they're strong women, but like all that stuff we do, it hurt them, you know, it scarred them. And now, like when my mother sees what I'm doing, it's like she tells me, I'm proud of you. I mean, that's the highlight of my life.
Finally hearing that, right?
Yeah.
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 And we take it for granted too, you know what I mean? Like I would always just brush my mom off, and I felt like so bad. I mean, I can't tell you how many times she would come and drive 3-4 hours to go visit me, and I had no visits, didn't tell her. One time she pulled up to the Yuma, which is 4 hours away, and I just got in a fight, so I was already in the hole. And it's like, dude, we just continuously run them through the ringer, you know? And there's nothing better than finally hearing that, you know, your mom's proud of you, you know, it's especially for myself.
Yeah.
And I think you're just remarkable. So I want to get into when actually we met.
Okay.
Because we met at the Partnership for Reentry program out there in LA. I just went out there with someone and just stumbled across you guys. And I remember we saw, the second I get out of the car, I saw that big OG.
Yeah.
And I said, and you know, when you've done a lot of prison time, you know dudes that had done a lot of prison time. I could tell just with him taking 2 steps, the dude was a triple OG. Yeah. And I remember telling him, I said, what's up, OG? What's going on today?
Yeah.
And he said, nothing, man, just taking this trash out, enjoying this fresh air.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, you know, that's some deep stuff right there. And then I go walk in the house, and I meet Sister Mary, you know, and I start, they want to tell her my story, you know, and I'm saying I did 12 years in prison. And for the most places, that's a lot of prison time, you know. And then there's someone makes a joke, like, ask him how much time he did. I'm like looking around, and we're in a room full of 9 dudes, and I mean, these dudes are 23, 28, 33, 32, 43, 44 years straight. And I'm like speechless. And I remember you walked out and they had told me that you had, I think you were what, 60 days out or 30 days out right then, and just fresh out, and had just done your 20 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, no way. And I don't know what it is. I can't explain it, but I just saw me and you. Like, I saw me and you, and I was like, damn, I remember that feeling. I remember I pulled you outside and we did a little 2-minute little interview, and I'm just like, it's just unbelievable, you know? And it shows that we can do anything. So nowadays you are still working at the Prep Foundation, right? And I want you to tell a little bit about this foundation, because I don't think it gets enough notoriety or publicity or anything too.
Right. Yeah, Prep was a big part of how I was able to change my life. You know, they provided going back to what you said, the therapy that we needed in there, and they're still doing that. So, you know, Prep, I stumbled across Prep when I was inside about my 5th year before I was supposed to get out, and started doing the course in my cell. Kept doing more, and they just had so many courses. I said, I'm start doing these courses, start learning from them. And then I wrote Sister Mary, who was the founder of Prep, and I told her I wanted to become a facilitator and start running groups and teaching these courses. So she came all the way out there to visit me. You know, this is an older woman.
She's an unspeakable human being.
Yeah, literally, like, you know, drives out to these prisons just to visit with us. And she made me a facilitator. And then at that point, like, our relationship built. We wrote each other back and forth. She would come visit us. And then when I got out, I contacted her. And I told her, like, you know, what I wanted to continue to do my work, continue to serve my mission. And she said, come in. And, like, she's like, you want a job? And I was like, yeah.
I need one of those, huh?
Yeah. I needed one. And before then, I had got turned down for 2 jobs. You know, people that think that it's still hard to get a job, you know, with a felony. You know, it's easier now than it used to be, but it's, you know, I got turned down twice for jobs. But now looking back, I know it was meant, because it was meant for me to be where I'm at now at Prep.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then I remember I told you that right then. I was like, that day we met, and I got your phone number, and I was like, dude, if I can help you out any little thing along the way or whatever, just please call me, do anything. Because I had the same feeling as you. You know, I did so much bad in my life and just ruined so many people's lives, and all I want to do is help people now, and like try to use all my shitty experiences and all the shitty stuff I did for anything positive, you know. And I'm like, people that, I mean, especially our stories are almost the same, you know, the chunks of prison sentence. We both went in as young. I feel like we're both mama's boys. We were both about the business in there, and then you changed your life before you got out. I changed it just literally the day I got out, you know. And it's just absolutely remarkable. So finally got you out here to AZ, and we did a bunch of firsts this time. We went hiking yesterday with some guys out of the treatment center. Yeah. And how good is it for being known for positive stuff now? You know what I mean? You spent 2 days with me. My entire life now, all I do is try to help people and go get people sober and try to mentor people from prison. What's more fulfilling than that?
Nothing. And you know, just to go back a little bit, I just wanted to mention to you that like you, the reason why I approached you at Prep when you first came in there and heard you speaking, because I was off at my desk doing something, and I heard you come in and you were talking, and it just, like, your words inspired me. So I got up, went over there, and introduced myself to you. And like you said, there was just like an instant connection there. Yeah. Like, I knew, like, that we were supposed to do good things together. For sure. I knew for sure. I didn't know what, but I said, I need to get to know this guy. Yeah. And, you know, being in the lifestyle that we come from, we're a good judge of character. Yeah. We've been around every kind of person you can imagine. Yeah. So I knew from the beginning, like, this is a person I want to, you know, get to know. And to this day, you still inspire me. Thank you. And to this day, like, you know, I look at you as a mentor. Thank you. And, you know, I strive to be where you're at one day. Wow. And I'm really proud to be here with you. And the stuff that you've been doing for me these past few days, like, truly is like you're making my dream come true. Like, the things we did, you know, going to Supercross and golfing, like, you know, things that I've never done before. Yeah. You know, like, you are like manifesting my dreams. Damn, I told you I cry a lot, you know. I mean, it's fine, man, but just know that, like, you are already doing God's work. Yeah. You know, like, you have a powerful voice, you have a powerful presence, and and just continue to do that.
Yeah.
Continue to be who you are, and do great things,
Yeah.
and know that I got your back fully.
That might be one of the greatest compliments I've ever heard. It's cool to be known for doing positive stuff, but like the greatest thing I can hear if whether it's a daily basis or something, then my most favorite thing to hear is that someone say that I inspired them, because I used to inspire people to do the wrong shit, you know what I mean? And if they didn't want to do it, I would be fucking mean to them and punk these youngsters, and you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's so cool to be known for stuff like that. I got a kind of random question.
Okay.
We're all about kids now and trying to stop kids from being where we were, and that's my number one mission, besides for helping people out of prison, is to get kids from not putting themselves in prison.
Yeah.
Give me a message or something for your 18-year-old self or any other youngster that's doing the stuff you were doing as a kid. Like, what would you tell them now, or what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself as an 18-year-old kid, because the way I look at it now, I've thought about this question, and I've answered this question many times throughout my journey. But I thought about this question, and I said, you know what? I would tell my 18-year-old self that you're going to prison, but when you go in there, you're going to serve your purpose. Don't go in there fucking up. Don't go in there trying to be red rum. Step in there, and no matter what happens, just start helping change lives. Because if I was to say now, to myself, don't go to prison, do this and do that, and void that, then I wouldn't have no purpose. This is my purpose. So I don't want to fight against that. I knew I had to go through those years in prison and to become who I became. So I would just tell him to have the heart and faith to go in there and just change lives from the beginning, and just trust God, trust you'll get out when you're going to get out, but know that you're going to impact lives and ultimately help change the world. And then you'll know what your purpose is. Mm-hmm. So it's that faith. I would tell myself that. Anybody else that's 18, like I tell 18-year-olds all the time, I tell them to sit down, ask themselves, what do you ultimately want to accomplish? Not what this persona that you have developed, this gang moniker that you think you are, that's not you. Think about back to your childhood. Think about deep inside, like, what do you ultimately want to do here? What are you passionate about? Where's your heart line? What is sports? What is it? And then just focus on that, and just find somebody to help you, achieve that. There's always a way.
Yeah.
And if you need my help, I'll give you that.
And we're living proof that anything's possible.
Yeah.
So, just curiosity, where's your friend Chris? Is he still around?
No, Chris killed himself.
Sorry.
Yeah. I was 16 years old when Chris killed himself. And he killed himself in front of me.
No way.
Yeah. And, for me, that's something that even to this day, I still feel guilt about. And, I've grown a lot, but, I was in the house with him when he did it. And, he put the gun to his head and shot himself in the head. And I didn't stop him. I'm a 16-year-old kid. He's almost 20. I look up to him. I want to be like him. I admire him. And, I didn't have the courage to stop him from doing that. And the kid back then didn't, and so I still hold guilt for that. And I'm a work in progress. I don't want to come off and seem like I'm just perfect.
For sure.
Trust me, like I still struggle with that, the guilt of not doing something to stop that. Maybe I couldn't have stopped that. Maybe it's not meant for me to stop that, but it's still there, the guilt. And so, he was dealing with a lot, drugs and just.
That lifestyle is exhausting, man. You know what I mean? It is.
Yeah. And that changed me, man. That made me even more violent. It made me experiencing that. It made me develop PTSD.
Yeah.
And that was one of the main reasons why I mentioned I didn't care about living. I wanted to die. I was suicidal because I was living with that guilt at 16 years old, 17, 18, then I go to prison with this guilt, with this feeling like, wait, my person I looked up to most and loved most is gone. He's dead. He killed himself. I want to be gone and kill myself. I want to be gone. I don't want to live no more.
Yeah.
Like, so I went in, that's why I went in with no fear, and I went in with that mindset that I didn't care if I died because I was out there living a suicidal lifestyle. And so he died, and this ring that I have here, he had on his finger when he killed himself.
Damn.
And I wear it, every day to remind me, like, that, Chris, I strive to make him proud now, and I strive to help people so that they never get to that point where they got to pick that gun up, and do something like that.
Wow, well, you for sure are, man. I know damn sure he's watching and proud as hell of you.
Thank you.
And here's a thing I was learning from you just talking with you yesterday, because I kind of, sometimes you can get stagnant out here, and I think I've done enough good and I need to like keep the pedal off the metal, and you're telling about your routine and we were talking about editing videos and stuff. And I mentioned something too, and you're like, no, I was just Googling these videos on it, reading articles on it. And I'm like, and I told myself, I'm like, damn, I need to do more, like you're a very, very, like talented and like, I almost say like militant with like your work ethic and stuff.
Yeah.
And, which is very impressive. And like I said, it taught me some stuff yesterday. I told you, I was like, when you're gone, I'm going to step my game up, and start trying to do stuff on my own instead of, cause that's the one, it's still hard though, when you're like used to being a shot caller, and it's easy to say, I don't do this, handle this for me. You know what I mean? And Hannah can attest to you that I'm a work in progress with that, so you inspired me yesterday to like literally try to put my pedal to the metal a little bit more on that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're still doing courses out here. Tell the people right now what you're up to. I know you got some big plans going on and what your goals are for the future. I feel like you got a lot of confidence, and even seeing myself and knowing that knowing how these last 6 months have gone and how they've just been like going better for you, like exponentially. What goals and plans do you have for the future?
Yeah, well, for me, like, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I feel like that it gives me a chance to hone my leadership skills, and to be in control of my own life, and have complete freedom. Because for me, entrepreneurialism is complete freedom. And walking out of prison, one thing I said was, I just want to be free. I want to be totally free to do whatever I want when I want. So I strive. Right now, I'm going to a program that's teaching me how to become a better entrepreneur. And then I want to start my own coaching business and be able to create courses online, and then be able to do mentorship, and then work with the Partnership for Reentry program and grow that nonprofit, and just be able to continue to give back.
Yeah.
And be able to inspire people. And like I said, do what you're doing, have a platform to reach people so that I could help more people, because, my mission is to inspire people to do positive change.
Because there's a lot of youngsters, man, and like we would have been those youngsters that there's no one in the world's going to get through them except a dude like us or with a story similar to ours. You know what I mean? Like I was so bad about it. I'm like, if you didn't go to a 4-year to max, like you didn't go to prison, I wouldn't even listen to a word you said. So it's cool being able to use those I don't know what the word is, but the images that we had of us before for positive stuff now too. So like I said, you do inspire me a lot. I know you're doing are you writing screenplays and stuff now as well too?
Yeah, and that's something it started off as a hobby of mine. I've always been a writer since a kid. Like even through my criminal life, I wrote, and I went to prison, and writing helped me get through it. It goes back to the therapy. Writing was part of my therapy. So I started writing movies, and I started writing plays, and I wrote 6 plays while I was in prison. And I sent them to a lady that I met in San Diego who had a playwriting company, and she was getting these plays produced and like performed by real actors and stuff. And she told me, when you get out, contact me. So I got out and I contacted her, and she hooked me up with an organization in New York called RTA, and they had me do 2 short film scripts, which I completed and are right now currently in production.
Damn.
So yeah, I'm just trying.
6 months out of doing 20 years.
Yeah, been out 7 months. It's 7 months this month, and and yeah, that's something that I love. Writing, films, plays, acting. For me, it's like that's something that I would do, for free. Just because I love doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to be able to, evolve in that as well, and be able to eventually, when I get enough going on, that I could, start my own production company and get my own stuff produced and help guys inside that I know that write and are great writers have something to come home to where they can build a foundation from.
For
so
sure.
That's definitely another one of my missions in life too.
One last thing that I forgot to talk about too is, I'm getting my badge right now to go. I talk to parole orientations, all that stuff when they get out of the joint. And I'm getting my badge right now to go statewide to start talking in the prisons. But I think you were what, 2 or 3 months out, and you were already going back with the Sister Mary's Foundation and going back and talking in prison. And here's the deal: I want to do it now, and I've been out 6 years.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have stepped foot near a prison like 30, 60 days out with you. And I remember you were talking to me and you were going back, I don't know if it was a month or 2 months when you were out, and you were not only going back to prison, but you were going right back to the same damn yard you left from. Tell me about that, and especially because I cannot even imagine the inspiration that you gave to those inmates when you were fucking on the yard with them, and then literally they blink an eye and then you're fucking walking back in there talking to them wearing street clothes. I want to hear about that myself. Well, I want to hear your thoughts and then the inmates' feedback that they gave when they saw you and how much hope you gave them.
Okay. Yeah, it was. I wish I would have had a camera, for this. It was just. It was amazing. I was out 100 days when I went back in the first time.
Damn.
100 days, and literally the warden was like, "That's like state history. Nobody's ever came back."
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, 100 days. Still on parole. Go back to the same yard that I was on. Talking to the guys I just left. Seeing, the youngster Sully that I had, being able to hug him on the yard, I'm wearing street clothes, and it's just inspiring them. And they're like,
just on the fucking yard with them too.
Just on the yard, just walking laps, just working out, just there. And I told them before I left that I would be back. And I know that them seeing me actually do that was like, a couple guys actually broke down.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I would have. Yeah. I had a youngster come up to me that I never even met and was like, "Man, you inspired me."
He probably heard your name from there.
Yeah, and then it's just like they couldn't believe it. They really didn't believe it, and it was like, for me, it just makes me appreciate life so much more.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like just you get a whole nother perspective walking out of that front gate on your own.
Yeah.
And then in cuffs, without not under your own free will. And so, yeah, I mean, that's something I will always do.
Yeah.
Forever.
Because you got to keep that in your mind.
Yeah.
I always tell dudes when they get out, the worst thing that you could ever do for yourself is to forget where you came from.
Yeah.
Because your best day in prison doesn't even come close to your worst day on the streets, And that's why helping people from the joint is so well. And when I speak at orientation and parole and stuff, I'm like, damn, these fools just got out. I used to be there, so it keeps it fresh in your head, which is awesome. So, I want to get to one last thing. If we could have, I want people to share this, man, to moms that got kids locked up, moms that got sons in the streets, moms that got sons or daughters that are on drugs and feel like there's no hope, because for sure, I know for a fact, my mom, my dad, my brother, everybody thought there was no damn hope for me. Yeah. It was just a matter of time before I died or I ended up getting a life sentence and I ended up killing myself. They literally had zero hope for me. Yeah. I'm sure your mom was the exact same way. So if you could say anything to the moms out there that are struggling, or even the youngsters, man, just a little bit of last inspiration to tell the people to hold on, and although it seems like it's an insurmountable task, nothing is insurmountable, especially if you got that man on your side. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just never give up. Never give up. Never lose faith. Never stop believing in yourself. Yeah. And a lot of people, they go through a lot of stuff in life. We all do. And it's hard to really, understand what they're going through and to be able to reach them, but just know that everybody has their time. Everybody has their moment. And where they're ready to change. So don't give up on the guys or girls inside who haven't changed yet. If they're still in there doing things they're not supposed to do, just don't give up on them. Just inspire them through your actions.
Yeah.
If you want somebody to live a positive life and show them. Lead by example. Yeah. Don't just tell them. Show them through the actual actions of your own self.
For sure. Yeah. And so, all the moms or even dads out there too, just hold on, man. It's anything is damn possible. I obviously I have a really crazy turnaround story, and I honestly don't think it holds a candle to yours. I think you are. I don't even know the right words anymore, man. Like I don't get too enamored or fascinated with people like you. I'm fascinated by your story, man, and just your purpose and just your heart, man. Like I can't even picture you being a violent dude now. It's so crazy. You're like, I mean, I look up to you a lot already, and I haven't told you that, but I want to give one last shout out to Sister Mary's House, Partnership for Reentry Program. Anybody that does know, look it up. DM me if you want to try and help or anything like that. It is a great foundation, and she's doing miracles and changing people's lives.
Yeah.
To all the moms, like I said, hold on, people will change. Share this with anybody struggling. We love you guys, and like I said, Carlos, man, I look up to you a lot, and I'm beyond appreciative and forever grateful for you taking the time to do this for me and sharing some pretty tough stuff. And just thank you again, man. I love you. I feel like I've known you my entire life, and we're legit brothers, man, because we got that bond, you know. So thank you so much for being here. I hope this helped people, and thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you again for being here.
All right. Thank you. Anytime.